Hello everyone, this is CatcherLP and welcome to a brand new style of video where today we're going to be looking through your comments. Yes, the last CM video had a large amount of comments, and as CM approaches, especially the first Grand Live CM, I thought it would be kind of fun to have the other editor gather some of the comments and I will go commentate over them. So yes, that's the plan for today's video. For our first comment from Ryan, I guess the CM is going to be a participation trophy for most of the trainers. Yeah, I can kind of see it. Exoguri is definitely very dominant, and if you look at any of the CM room data, it's really not looking good. However, I would also say that I've seen a lot of really badly built Exoguris. So I think there's going to be a pretty big knowledge diff between someone who knows how to play Grand Live, who's resetting constantly for a good Grand Live run, and someone who doesn't. And I think an Oshi player who resets a lot for a good Grand Live run will actually have a chance. Next, from Iftikhar, waiting for Canva to update to CM17. Yeah, we actually have had a lot of issues with the Canva. We currently are looking into other solutions because we actually have had Canva explode a couple times, and we also just generally don't like working with it. It seems like it's getting laggier and laggier, and we will find some solutions in the near future. We are looking into our options, but yeah, so I just wanted to put this in there here, just basically say, sorry about that, guys. We're really going to work on getting the Canva, or a better solution to Canva, soon. Next we have two comments together, or lumped in together. We have one from Junping. Side games need to introduce restrictions to debuffers starting from the CM. And the second comment is from Anjoki, which says the benefit of restricting debuffers in some way was allowing for more diverse team comps instead of solo ace plus double debuff. I don't think JP has this problem, so assuming the issue fixes itself eventually, I was just disagreeing with your point restricting debuffs hurt off meta players. Now, I did pick out this extra comment because yes, double debuff actually helps off meta players way more than it helps meta players. The reason I say this is that just think on any medium or long, what happens if you just miss one of your gold recovs and you're relying on that single gold recov to hit your stamina requirement? Everything just kind of goes away. Your entire win con is reliant on one Uma, right? A lot of the meta players kind of want consistency, whereas an Oshi player is going to be more willing to sacrifice a bit of that consistency to gamble on their Oshi winning, right? So double dom one ace is like you're putting all your eggs in one basket. It is great for making sure that you win, but it's also like less consistent overall. There's a reason why you see people running double front rather than just like Exoguri, because double front is actually very consistent in what it does no matter what. Next we have a comment from Dran Keto. Don't care, running anime tail and you can't stop me. Correct. I think that if you're an Oshi player, just run your Oshi. Who kind of cares about a tier list? Well, I will say you should know the tier list. Know that Exoguri, for example, is extremely meta dominant, but just run your Oshi. You know, like, who cares about the win rate, right? It's your Oshi. You really just want it to do well. And we won't really include Oshi picks that much because unlike before where it was like easier to include all these picks, we're starting to get to the point where there's so many Umas that's really easy to overlook stuff. I guess that perfectly ties into the next comment from Rishiki and a lot of other people. Inari One erasure is real? Yes, we did forget Inari One. If you want to know why did we forget Inari One, I'm gonna be honest, I keep on thinking of Inari One as the parent looping Uma. I keep on just thinking about it in parent loops because I spent more time in parent looping than I have actually playing Grand Live. It is what it is. We did forget. So to give you a brief overview, Inari One has a really good gold recov. It actually gives a velocity buff as well as this recovery. So in general, it's actually extremely good value. Tales of Victory is good. Her unique, it's okay. It relies on Guts Dueling to activate, which is not the most consistent thing in the world, but you know, it still is a 0.45 if you activate it, so it's pretty nice. I would say that is good. And if we look at the Hakaraku data, it has a 11% win rate. Slight problem, Exagri exists, that's 36% win rate. You know, so for everyone that's like, oh my god, is Inari One the Exagri killer? No, like that, just because we forgot it actually doesn't really change much. In fact, the reason probably why we forgot it is because Exagri is just really, really dominant. In fact, if we're actually looking at our tier list, you could probably put like a giant tier in between the S and the A tier. Like Exagri is on its own level. Like, you can always beat a meta Uma like Exagri if you have a stronger built non-meta Uma, or if they're just poorly built, but I wouldn't rely on it, is how I would put it. Next, we have a comment from @Switch. 18th Stamp Spark is going to be the new thing for Grand Live, so make sure you grind those parents, and I'm not even joking about it. I think that, like, 18 Stamp Sparks have been really good for, like, a while now. Like, I think... Okay, Mant would prefer probably half-half in terms of stam power, but, you know, there's always value to having good stam sparks. The main thing I will say that you may want to think about is that half stam, half wit, especially for the upcoming long for Arima, plus 3 speed, 1 stam, 1 wit. I think that actually has some real value if you have wit growth and no speed growth, so that might be something you want to consider. Always keep your options available. The next mile you're gonna want, you know, some power some power sparks. That's always gonna be something you use, so make sure you're keeping your options open. But yeah, in our current meta, stam sparks are always just nice to have. I will keep that in mind that you know, it's quite hard to parent farm for long enough to get stam 3, especially on like all of your parents, especially with how quick CMs come. So I would, you know, temper expectations for most of you, because I don't think most of you are gonna be willing to go through that much effort to get stam 3 on all your parents. But yeah, overall stam sparks are good. Next, we have a comment from Primera. No way, I was so excited to see El Condor Pasa seeing some love to CM. I was still a user, but not even C tier is tough. Yeah, I think that the problem with El Condor's kit is El Condor base, her unique is much more focused on miles. It's like, you've probably seen sometimes her Mile Condor frontrunner is like actually kind of meta and really hard to beat. But on the other hand, the rest of her kit is really like meant for medium. I say meant for medium as if she doesn't have a vision skill, and that's just not great at anywhere. But the gold recov would definitely help in this medium. And the other kit, the El Condor Fantasy, it's just a gambler, and gamblers in general benefit a lot more from shorter tracks, because then you just gamble your excels anyways to win. So I think El Condor really more has a mile focus, but like, you know, if you want to, just use normal one. It's technically the one that has a higher win rate in rooms. I'm assuming it's just because you have a gold recov built in, so you have that going for you. Really sorry about how El Condor kind of gets treated not as great by Cygames, I think, as some other Umas. So next we have a comment from Leonardo. So what's the stam requirement if you have the 2 golds, 2 white recoveries for Oguri, and 4 mystifying murmurs hit you? I'm assuming this is for Exoguri, and for Exoguri, you need 8 to 850, I would say, at least going through U-tools. Keep in mind that when you're buying golds and such, they're percent heals, so you can't actually get away with that much lower just by getting a percent heal. You still need a certain baseline amount of stamina, so you can run lower, but I would still probably say like 800, and really you probably would want to aim more 850, 900-ish. So just keep that in mind. Next, we have a comment from No Tango Stand. I want to see a video for pace versus late versus end on Exoguri. Here's like sort of my baseline sort of reasoning. Obviously this is a full video, but pace, U equals MA squared as a pace Exoguri is something that you just straight up can't get from later end. So if there's U equals MA squared as an option, you might want to do pace. Late versus end, CB offers Daring Strike for ends, lates do have Pedal to the Metal, ends overall have higher top speed at the very end. Both of them have access to obviously 5 and 6 for Dober and Ryan, but there will be some cases where, for example, ends have After School Stroll, and that is a viable thing to activate Oguri Unique from, X-Oguri Unique, and that, for example, is used this next mile track. You might see end X-Oguri just because you can use After School Stroll to get perfect carryover. So yeah, when you're looking at it, pace equals MA squared. Ends versus lates, they're pretty similar. It's just like sometimes they have an activator for one, not the other. And sometimes it's just like you have access to a CB card or Nice Nature card and you just want to use that instead. On to the next comment from Jockey. I only watch these videos for the misinformation now, and I wasn't disappointed. Bro didn't mention on your left once. Also, Urara, but no Inari One, hello. And the fact that Oguri abusers most hated Uma is Ricky is extremely funny. I agree with you on that one. We already went over Inari One, so I'm not going to go too much into that. I did think that the other editor put this comment in because he knows how much I don't like on your left. Right, especially on medium tracks, right? So we're gonna go through a little exercise here. Go to your MooMooCows or any Umamusume that you want. Go put in X-Oguri late with 3 recubs, and then go put in Nimble Navigator. That's the only other Excel that we'll have, right? With just this, you'll already see that the value of on your left, right, at least on my Umamusume, is around 0.6 lengths. It's okay, right? But you have to understand that that is around the same value as a lot of gold skills and even some white skills. Because of the way that it is random in the Excel phase, random first half, you have a chance that it literally gives you nothing for your gold skill, right? And keep in mind that on your left isn't on any of the meta Umas right now. On top of the fact that we are most likely borrow luck to Agnes Tachyon speed because it is one of the best speed cards that we have at this very moment, right? So when people mention on your left, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's a fine gambling skill. It's just that I would also highly encourage people to not A1 gamble. We have X-Oguri, for example, that is extremely consistent, can do basically everything that you want in terms of speed and excel. And then B2, you don't have to borrow luck yourself to Nice Nature Wit. Next, we have a comment from Crocworks. Nice Nature of All Seeing Eyes, Mystifying Murmur, and Stam Siphon procced by 564. It'd be a gamble that 564 hits the correct gold in Stam Siphon since Murmur needs blocking and All Seeing Eyes is already late race, but still, it could mean blasting your opponents with 3 Stam debuffs. I highly disagree with this. All Seeing Eyes is vision based, and Murmur was infamous for how not reliable it was in actual CM. If you just remember any of the times where we had high stams and people just said, lol, you know, just ignore the Murmur because the Murmurs have to be blocked for 1 second. It's just not very likely by a debuffer. So overall, my kind of opinion is no, I get the concept and idea, but overall I think you'd just be much better off just 564 Mystifying Murmur. Thank you for the comment though. Next from @Kazu, so for Dominator Road, just pick 1 gold skill and gold chip inherit, that's all? No, you want to pick Dominator plus Kenai plus 564. The logic behind it is that you want 564 to proc Kenai, and then if it procs Kenai, then later on you can naturally proc Dominator. The other way, if 564 just procs Dominator, well, you just proc Dominator. It's just like a normal ace. Kenai will go unused, but hey, at least you procced your Dominator. Is basically the same value as before. Next, we have a comment from Loha. Since Bofa is buffed, wouldn't Tosin Jordan speed make more sense with Stam Sparks over Creek here? Yeah, you can run Stam Sparks with Tosin Jordan speed. I do want to point out that A1 Tosin Jordan speed is not the greatest speed card, But more importantly, I just think that casuals don't actually have that much stam spark. It's even with auto parents, it's quite difficult getting 3-star stam. So I think in general, you're gonna see a lot of people coping with their sparks, and I don't know if it's really that great of a recommendation to run or to say to people, get max stam sparks just so you can run 3 speed. It's quite a hefty investment for people, time-wise. Next from Lino Aki. What is the point of making a video telling your viewers if you're not running meta, just skip? Well, I think that is kind of the point, that it's the Dirt CM. We're telling you what's meta because, you know, it's actually quite nice to know that, hey, Exaguri is the meta dominance. Get your hopes down in a sort of sense. I still think people can win, by the way, with their Oshis, especially considering that Grand Live is something that takes multiple retries to just get one good ace. So I don't think casuals are actually going to be building good aces. But yeah, I think it is really important to have expectations when you're going into CM of, well, this is the meta Uma. If you're running the meta Uma, obviously life's going to be easier. So having that expectation in mind for how can I sort of counter that, how can I win against that, you're going to have to try really hard to win against something that is this meta dominant. Next from Riley, love all the stam debuff propaganda out there. Imagine all these losers listening to us and trying to build Umas to kill Exaguri instead of building Doms. I'll be building Doms and winning. I definitely think there is an element of people always kind of overestimate stam, but at the same time, this is probably the one track where stam actually does matter, and I think a lot of people are going to understand, especially in round 1. So if you can, like, yeah, I definitely think Dominators overall are going to be the much more consistent pick, but like stam debuffs, you might just actually have more win rate with them in round 1, because I just don't see casuals being able to properly stam even their Exaguris, because I wonder how many of them are actually going to be bothering to buy both gold recubs or even having enough gold recubs to survive with like 600 or 500 stam that I've seen some of these Exaguris have. Finally, we have a comment from Alejandro Perez. Can the editor make his own videos instead? Moomoo talks about being too busy to do any actual testing as live streams. I'll be watching someone else, sadly. Yeah, Moo has another job, so in general, this channel was always meant to appeal more to jobbers to figure out exactly what they need to do to get a good enough result to get to CM finals. In terms of answering, can the editor make his own videos instead? Well, I make some videos here on this channel, but I just finished my grad school, so I plan on getting an office job pretty soon. So most of the time, I'm just going to be helping out with the channel when I can, and I really plan on just doing this as a passion project on the side, making sure that we get as best info as we can out there. And yeah, so with that comment, we've gone through all the comments. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of your guys' names, and once again, thank you all for submitting comments. The engagement always helps the channel. So anyways, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Feel free to join our Discord community. We have a very vibrant one. Yeah, so that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.